Hello again, it's Noob, and I've got something really amazing to show you today. So this is a handmade, one-off, working prototype lock-picking tool made by my friend Baldylocks, who some of you will know from his absolutely amazing YouTube channel. Please go check it out. He not only is a great lockpicker, but makes some amazing homemade tools. I mean, really, really good work. You must go check it out. Anyway, follow the links, you'll get there. I just want to show you. I mean, just look how fabulous this looks. I mean, if you're a lockpicker, even if you didn't know what this was, I reckon you probably want one. I want one. As soon as I saw the first images of Baldylocks making this tool, which he shared between myself and a couple of other friends, I was like, this is a great idea. It's just building on a 2-in-1 pick concept, but for multiple different types of locks. So you'll see here that there are loads of non-curtained lever lock picks, and it's a brilliant tool for that. But also you'll see some disc detainer tips in there as well. And if you look really carefully, you'll notice that there are sort of tips for standard Chinese rear or front tensioning disc detainer tools, but also the Abloy Classic. Yep, that's right, Abloy Classic and lever locks and Chinese disc detainers. I mean, so cool, so cool. Right, so for those of you not so familiar, let's just go through what you have here. So you have the two-piece, 2-in-1 tensioner and picking handle, I guess, but they're interchangeable, and you'll see that in a second. Essentially, you have a two-piece set, and one could be used for tensioning and one could be used for picking, or one could be used for tensioning and the other could be used for picking, depending on what lock you're picking. You'll see it's got some graduations here. Clearly it's not universal because different locks have different spacings, but it acts as a fantastic guide. Beautiful anodization there, and I believe this was made for Baldylocks by Jimsys from the UK Locksport Forum, of which Baldylocks is himself a moderator. So yeah, really cool. Okay. So how might you use a tool like this? Well, let's bring up Exhibit A. So say you have a padlock. There are many padlocks like this, lever padlocks, and there is an up post or an up stand in the center of the lock. So you'd need to find a pipe tensioner. So this is essentially a nice broad tension tip which will engage with the talon at the back of the lock. You can see that there. But to pick it, clearly you can't have anything in front of, like a pick tip in front of here, because, well, this is need for tensioning. So you would root around and you'd find a matching tensioning tip, and that would go here. And you'll see that, put these in, that pick tip now will be able to lift the levers in turn once you apply tension. So there you go. So you just put the pick tip over the tensioning tip. How does that actually go into the handles? Well, clearly to get this over here, you can't have anything too wide. So separately, as you can see here, there are some little collars. So you choose an appropriate collar and slide that over, and that would act as a spacer. So there you go. And what you'd need to do is essentially pop this through here, add a spacer, pop on the other handle like that, and you'll see that there are Allen screws in there as well. You'd align one with the other. I won't do it too much, it's just for illustrative purposes. And you would tighten those off, and then what you'd end up with is, of course, there you go, a separate pick and tensioning tip working together. Very, very cool. Okay, so what about another type of lock? So here's a Squire Old English 660, and this doesn't have an upstand. In fact, if you look through, you can see that actually it's got a guide hole at the back. So you need a different sort of set of pick tips. Let me show you. So what you need is you'd need a tension tip like this, and that would have a little bit of a post at the back to basically rest inside the hole at the back of the lock, and then you'd need to find a picking tip like this, and that would slide over here. There you go. Then again, you would attach this part to the bottom handle like that, but then you need to tension now with the back of the lock. So you'd use a different collar spacer if you like, and that's same sort of overall arching diameter on the outside, but a much thinner diameter on the inside, and that would engage here. And what would you do? Well, once again, you'd pop this spacer into the back, and forgive me for not sort of screwing it all together. And then what you do is you would pull the other tip through, and again you have control over tension and picking. So cool. And then that would obviously go into this lock. There you go. And you can see how the tension tip actually engages with the back of the lock for stability. So clearly there's a range of different pick tips and tensioners and pick tips depending which configuration they need to be around, so you can pick different locks. In fact, I can even spy in here. Can you guess what that one's for? Yeah, that's for the Chub Cruiser, because of the sort of offset it needs. Very cool. But what else is in here? Well, I talked to you earlier about the disc detainer tips, and here they are. And once again, they just act in exactly the same way. You would just pop these through the first tip, if you like. So just push them all the way through. Then you would put that into the handle on this side and screw that down. You can see it's flat on one side, so it'll engage nicely. And then that would then engage with the front like this. And then you'd end up with, that's right, a disc detainer pick. And here's a see-through disc detainer lock, and all you'd do is you'd push these tips together once they're tightened. You'd slide it all the way down into the lock, and then you would tension from the rear. And oh, I should have screwed these in really, shouldn't I? But you know, you don't need me to. There you go. Tension the rear, and then you can start picking the lock. Very, very cool. And last but by no means least is this configuration. This is absolutely, yep, it's an Abloy classic pick tip. So this would pick locks like this with that classic Abloy sort of half moon key and this keyway. So again, it's just designed to go in and be able to essentially turn that around as well. There you go. You see how it goes? That's the pick tip. Essentially go in and then start picking the discs in these Abloy classics. No mean feat, actually. Very tricky locks indeed. And actually, I have to say a massive thank you to Baldy Locks, not only for lending me this tool, but without this, I would never have picked my first Abloy classic, which is definitely an upcoming video. So here we are, all unpackaged, everything that Baldy Locks has made, and I think you can tell just by looking at this what amount of effort, love, care, attention and skill has been put into these. Just really outstanding. I've not ever seen or even really thought of the idea of putting lever picks in with disc detainer picks, especially ones like an Abloy classic pick. And I guess really the scope is huge to make even more tips for even more locks. You know, rear tensioning, center tensioning. You know, the mind boggles with ideas. That's for sure. It really is just fantastic work, and I'm so grateful for Baldy Locks for letting me show this off on my channel. You know me, I love toys like this, and I love sharing things like this with the community as well. You know, please do go check out Baldy Locks' original video on this, because he can describe his own tools far better than I can. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. I love this tool. I'm going to be sad to see it go, but I'll see you all next time.